Hey there, everybody. New studio, new intro. I'm just here to remind you guys before you listen to today's episode, make sure you follow the show and subscribe wherever you listen. If you watch the show on YouTube, make sure you subscribe there, you comment, you like, and you share. Also, follow my social media, all of it, both Instagrams, my Twitter, follow it all. Your life is to be consumed by my life. Tell everybody that you know about me. Start conversations with the fact that the Smoking Simian is your favorite podcast. Bombard everyone that you know and love with the Smoking Simian. Send them links day in and day out of my show, of the episodes, of my posts. Get thrown out of your house because the only thing that you care about is the Smoking Simian. Do it. Enjoy today's episode. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and good morning. Thank you for tuning in on a Thursday. I almost got my car towed in the lot that I am designated to park in. There's a lot right across the street from my building that is for the people that live here. And every night I go to park in that spot, or I go to park in the lot, because we don't have designated spots, but we do have a lot that is meant for the people who live here to park in. And I don't think that there's enough spots in that parking lot, because every night I go there, there's always seems to be a problem. I got to park in some weird spot. People don't know how to park. People park crooked. You know, it's a pain in the ass. But it is nice to have the lot in general, just to know the whole security of having a parking lot that is dedicated to a specific apartment building is that you can park there and there's no threat of you being towed or getting ticketed, or if there's a parking ban in the snow, there's no threat of it getting damaged in any way. It's in a lot, right? It's in a space where everybody is sharing, and the whole point is to not get towed. But I went to the gym this morning, or yesterday morning I went, and there was... You know, I came back, I parked the car, I went inside, and I realized that I left something in the car, and I forgot exactly what it was. No. I was going out to write. So there's this cafe that I've found. I've continuously walked past because I'm notoriously I'm anti-line. I hate standing in lines, guys. You know, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is standing in line, especially on a place that, or on a line for a place that's replaceable, right? Like, there's plenty of places on the street that I can go get something, right? You know, like in Providence, there's a street called Thayer Street. You know, you're standing in line at a specific restaurant, but the whole street, there's restaurants. The entire street, you know, like, I'm not going to stand. No matter how good the place is, I'm going to go to a place where there's no line. Like, I'll be okay, all right? I'll be fine. So anyway, this cafe, Muddy Waters Cafe in New London, Connecticut, is one of the two places that I've actually found that I like being in, right? One of the two places. And one of those two places, or neither of those two places, is my apartment, right? I like being in my apartment for the sole reason that I'm alone and I can sit in here with my demons and I can stare at the four walls and wonder, why the fuck am I living in this town in the first place? Why did I decide to move to this dog shit place? And I like it for that, but as you could tell, it gets, you know, a little heavy, right? It gets a little tough when you've been in an apartment that's small. It's a small place, right? It's mostly this one room. There's a bathroom. There's a small hallway. But all I do is get up from here, go smoke dope in the bathroom, come back out. And I really haven't found any places where I guess I could socialize or I could be in the company of other people. I kind of feel like this bird shit that I'm looking at on my window. It's super symbolic, right? Because there's this massive bird shit that's been on my window for at least 3 months, 2 to 3 months. There's this, I mean, it looks like a sick shit, you know? And I'm not going to clean it. I'm talking about the window of my apartment. I'm looking at it right now. It's right above where I sleep. There's a big bird diarrhea. Like this bird had some Mexican bird seed, right? It ate a worm that came from that was spicy, right? It was a kimchi worm or something, and it shit all over my window, and it just hasn't washed away. It hasn't broken off and dissolved. It's just a big spew of shit, and I've really connected with this shit. You know, it's kind of a metaphor for my existence currently, right? It's like I'm stuck I'm stuck in a destination that isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it would be nice if something would wash me away from it, right? It would be nice if my car actually got towed, because then I would stop making payments. I would stop making rent payments, and I could get evicted and I could move, right? I could get the fuck out of here. I could move, and it wouldn't be my fault. I could get my car back. Or I wouldn't get my car back if he's like, hey, I'm not giving you your car back. You got to keep paying rent, whatever. I would just say, fuck you, and not pay rent, and I can get evicted. And that would essentially be me getting washed away. The bird shit on the window getting washed away. I am the bird shit on the window that is known as the town of New London, Connecticut. The town of New London, Connecticut is I've used this as a metaphor. I've had a lot of time to look at it. I've had a lot of time to discern in my mind and figure out a connection with this bird shit. Because it's the only connection that I've had with anything in this town since I've moved here. You follow what I'm saying? Since I've moved here, the only thing that I can connect with is this shit on my window. Now, the other place that I enjoy in this town is a place called Dutch Tavern. And you go in there, and it's like an old school place. It's cash only. I think I've spoke about it before. You go in, you get a $2 beer. It's cheap, right? It's like a time capsule. You go in, and then you leave, and you're like, wow, we're back in the modern world. You feel like you're in 1970, right? You want to light up a cigarette in the place, but you can't, right? You can't do that. But I enjoy that place. The bartenders, there's 3 bartenders. I only care for 2 of them. One of them's the owner. I've never really met her. I don't really care to. But nonetheless, there's I like that place, and I like the Muddy Waters Cafe, mainly because there's I like writing in the Muddy Waters Cafe. I can go out. I can get my double espresso. It's a walk, right? It's a little walk down the street. I get my double espresso. And I can sit outside on the patio and smoke my CBD cigs and just type for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's what I did yesterday. And but when I was going outside, I saw the sign on my car that said I was being towed. And I get it. I don't have my sticker. All right, I know I'm supposed to have a sticker that says I live in whatever apartment. And I get it, right? It's fine. I emailed the guy. But there was a part of me hoping that I would get wrongfully towed so that I could just also get evicted. Like, isn't that an option? Can't you just get evicted? You know, I mean, very rarely especially if I'm moving out of state, right? If I'm moving out of state, I don't really care to ask, this person. I don't care to ask my landlord for a letter of recommendation to my next landlord. You know, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. So couldn't I just essentially stop paying? I could start saving money, right? See how long I can go without paying rent. Maybe pay a chunk of it. See how long I can go, right? On the back rent. You know, maybe pay $300 instead of $9 and ride it out for as long as I can. And in the meantime, look for apartments in New York or somewhere else that I want to go. It's probably going to be New York. But nonetheless, it's just got me thinking, like, couldn't I just get evicted? Couldn't I? Does that go on your permanent record? Remember when they tell you you got a permanent record? What does that go on? That doesn't go on anything. Nobody's going to care, right? Except for the guy, renting the place out. But if I just signed a lease on another apartment, moved out in the middle of the night, and just disappeared, and just stopped paying things, maybe, just maybe, I could get away with it. Maybe I could just get evicted. I don't know. Doesn't really matter to me because I probably won't do that. Wow, it's the darkness from outside is really making me look like shit on the camera. I'll be back in 2 seconds. We're gonna turn the lights on in here. Give me 2 seconds. All right, we're back. It looks a little bit better. I just opened the blinds a little bit so I can really see that bird shit. And man, it is something to behold. I wish I could show you guys what that is. Nothing like starting the podcast talking about bullshit and how I resonate with it. I mean, bird shit. Bird shit and how I guess I would resonate with bullshit as well. If bulls could fly and shit on my window, that would be terrifying. And the shit would be bigger, right? Imagine cows just flying and shitting everywhere. There'd be mushrooms falling out of the sky. It's kind of a dream, if we're being honest. It's kind of a fantasy. You know, just magic mushrooms falling out of the sky, being as abundant as ever. I don't know. I think that sounds good to me. That's a dream. That's like a fever dream. I've been trying to drink a lot of water. Been trying to get on track, guys. I've been trying to get on track with the health, with the food. Trying to eat a little bit better. Cooking my food at home, saving a little bit more money, trying to put the pieces together like the rest of you motherfuckers are. But anyway, there is this recent movement that has been brought to my attention. And I love a good movement, guys. I love a good anti-establishment movement whenever they arise. You know, I'm always excited to hear about people going against the grain, regardless of how stupid it sounds or how the investment horizon on how short the investment horizon is on some of these movements. Now, the good thing about this particular movement is that corporate businesses aren't going to exploit it for marketing, right? Historically, over time, as we all see, corporations, they go ahead and smear their name on whatever movement they can, right? Whatever they think is going to sell sneakers, is going to sell ice cream, is going to sell ideas, whatever the fuck it is. You know, a company is very quick to put LGBTQ friendly on their as their moniker if it means that those people are going to come and spend their money there, right? That's just what it is. That's marketing. That's Colin Kaepernick on a Nike commercial. That's Juneteenth ice cream made by Signature Select or whatever the fuck it is, the Walmart brand, the Walmart ice cream. You know, that's what that is, right? That's what that is. That's the environmental shit that I spoke about last time, environmental investing and environment. It's impossible. You can't do that. With a major corporation, you're going to be shitting on something somewhere somehow. You're going to be taking advantage of some people, some environment. You're going to be fucking something up if you're one of these big monstrous corporations. And this particular movement is known as quiet quitting. Quiet quitting. This is something that I can get behind. This is something that I like, okay? This is kind of a double-edged sword, though, okay? And I'm going to explain what it is to you. And once I explain it to you, you're going to understand why big corporations are not going to get behind this. Now, this is something that's become popular on TikTok. It's become just like everything, right? Everything nowadays, every trend, every fad is from TikTok, okay? The dances, the songs, the food that people make, the recipes, the comedy, everything. It's TikTok, it's social media in general, but because TikTok's so new and they have effectively changed the social media game in that it's just never-ending content, quick stuff, you know, quick videos, quick little, and it's more or less a wild zone, right? You can joke about things. There's very, very niche, uncensored markets on TikTok, right? Whereas Twitter, it's very free, it's very uncensored for the most part, but it's more like a big community. Whereas TikTok, I feel like it's a little more niche. I've just started using TikTok. I try to fuck around on there a little bit. I try to do that. By the way, check out my latest skit. It's both on TikTok and my personal Instagram. But the links are, of course, in the description as always. Check it out. It's very fun. Homeschooling in the modern age. But anyway, everything just comes, every fad, it used to be, you saw something on TV or you saw an ad for something or, MTV was like a fad, right? It was its own network and now there's music on the television and the whole thing, right? And fads come and go and whatever else. But the plus side to having social media is that you can start any kind of movement that you want. And this one has become popular amongst millennials and Gen Z people. Gen Z, Generation Zers, right? Because you could say Gen Xers, but Gen Zers, I don't know, whatever. I'm technically in the Gen Z field, right? 97 to, 2012 or some shit. I don't know what it was. But either way, I'm part of it. And what it is it's this movement of workers and employees not giving their all, not going above and beyond for their company, not sacrificing their livelihood, their sanity, their existence on this planet, not sacrificing those things for a company that if you died today, they would have a replacement for you by the end of the week, right? That's the reality. The reality is if you were at a company for 20 years, 30 years, you put in your time, your family will get your pension, they'll get your life insurance, but at the end of the day, the show needs to keep rolling. So they're going to hire somebody else, right? That's commonplace. But knowing that this is why I like this, because it's people realizing that they are just cogs in a greater machine. That's what we are in general, right? But especially at our jobs, especially if you work in a big corporate setting. I historically have only worked in small, privately owned businesses, right? Privately owned restaurants. I worked, for a privately owned bakery, small hometown mom and pop. The paint fucking place that I worked at, a little bit of a corporate vibe, but nonetheless, not huge. It's like a medium-sized business. What else? I already said the restaurants, the farm that I worked on in the summer. That one summer, it was all privately owned stuff. And you did feel like you had a little bit more, you had more connection with the company itself, with the boss, because you work arm in arm with them, right? You're side by side, you're rubbing elbows, doing the same bullshit. He gets paid more, or he or she gets paid more. They have more responsibilities and whatever else. But you guys are more or less friends, right? Especially in a restaurant. You go out, you get hammered with the manager, and then the next day you're expected to listen to him. Fuck you. But now I work at Mohegan Sun, big monstrous corporation. And if I'm being honest, guys, I have never been less motivated to do well at a job in my entire life. Now that could come on the strength of this whole existence realization that I've had that, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want to be a comedian. I want to be an entertainer for drunk strangers in a dark room, right? That's all I want to do, and I want to be able to come on here and scream in my apartment all by myself, hopefully to more strangers. More strangers, maybe they're drunk, maybe they're not, maybe they're starting their day. Those things aren't always mutually exclusive, right? I like to think that there are at least a good chunk of my audience are drug addicts in some way, shape, or form. I would like to think that. But this is a movement that is going to shake things up if it gains any steam, right? Which it won't, right? It probably won't. But it's really taking some of the power away from the centralized power structure, right? That comes in a corporate setting, comes in a office setting or whatever the fuck it is. And now, mind you, this style of living, this style of working, this philosophy doesn't only apply to corporations, right? It really applies to this culture of not working, which is something that's come as of recent, right? And now that I can't necessarily get behind, right? Because look at all the cool shit we got from people working. Look at all the look at all the cool shit that we've got from people slaving away, toiling away. Look at the roads. We've got roads, okay? Do you know what a road is? It makes it so much easier for us to drive our cars that were also made by people slaving away, working double extra hard. Now, you know how much longer it's going to take for us to get the new Call of Duty game if people aren't giving their all at work? You know, are you prepared for that, everyone? I mean, the workforce, almost half of it, 46% of it, is Gen Z and millennials. And they're the people who are adopting this idea. They're the people who see the writing on the wall of the future, okay? The future is either complete integration with technology, and a lot of our jobs are going to be, we're going to be thrown to the side because you can't stop progress, right? If you can get a robot that does your job at a 99.9% efficiency rate compared to the, I don't know, 60%, 40%, 50% efficiency rate that a human might have, and now you take away the whole aspect of human error, there's things you won't have to throw out. There's projects that you'll be able to see through without, with minimal problems. They're going to start using those, guys. I mean, across the board. So our jobs are going to be different. They're going to be different. I don't know what they'll be. I don't know what the future of the workforce looks like. All I know is that our generation sees the writing on the wall. So it's either that, it's either complete integration with technology or complete annihilation, right? Those are the outlooks that we have. That's the outlook of our generation. We're a very nihilistic generation, okay? We're a generation that is starting to care less and less about the outcome. We just want to have a good time. We want to be able to live our lives not being chained to a certain location, not being chained to a certain, to a company, to a job, to a task, right? We want to be able to live freely. We want to be fluid. We want to be fluid in every aspect, right? We want to pick our gender day to day. We want to be able to travel anywhere, anytime, any place. We want to be able to change our taste, our taste in certain aspects in our lives anytime we want. We want to be as fluid as humans can get, and that is a detriment to the whole scheme. You know what I'm saying? It's a detriment to the whole scheme, which is why something like this could gain traction, right? It could gain traction, and if it does, then production will probably go down. If people realize that if there's a realization amongst all humans that they have been getting fucked by corporations, they have been getting fucked by this hustle culture, mostly Americans, right? Because there's, in other countries in Europe, right, there's very much it's super lax, right? They all smoke cigarettes, but they live to be 85. I wonder if the continuous stress, the poison food, the scary news cycle that we're affected by, the societal pressures to succeed, I wonder if all those things have caught up with us. The sugary drinks, the drugs that are marketed to us day in and day out, the problems that we're told that we have. It's almost like those things contribute to the lifespan, the shortened lifespan of Americans, right? It's almost like that stuff contributes to the heart disease that afflicts so many people in our beautiful country. It's almost like it's not cigarettes. It's almost like it's not indulgence, It's almost like it's a collection of all these things, right? It's almost like the culture itself could be flawed in some cases, right? In some cases. And I told you guys, I joke, I fuck around, but we have it phenomenal in this country. We do. We really do. We have it so fucking good. People don't understand it. We have it so good that we look past some of the hardships. We look past some of the bad shit because we have it so good. It's just like going to a restaurant. 90% of the time, your experience in a restaurant is fine. You get your food with little to no problem, right? The worst thing is maybe you have to wait a little bit extra than normal. But people wait for good food. People wait for good drinks. Most of the time in a restaurant, your experience is A-okay. So when those times, that other 10%, that few and far between, those things that happen that, the waitress the waitress fucked up your order, right? Or the drink tastes like shit and you got to get a new one, or the beer is kicked, or whatever the fuck. Sometimes you just have a bad experience. So when those happen, it's worse, right? It feels like shit, but you're not going to not go out to eat ever again. You'll probably go back to that restaurant where you had a bad experience. You're like, fuck it, they had a bad day. That's the same thing here. We look past the price of healthcare. We look past the price of higher education. We look past the constant violence that goes on in places where people should be safe. We look past all those things. We look past the constant marketing of drugs that are a big piece of the machine. We look past the military-industrial we look past it all because we have such greater freedoms that were built on all of those things. Yes or no? The answer is yes, guys. It really is. The answer is yes. We tolerate everything because of how good we actually have it, right? I can fuck off in my house and do this for you guys. Say anything I want. I can say whatever. I just shit on the country and gave it a compliment. If I was in China, if I was in some other place where they limit your information, your access to information, we'd be way more fucked. But then again, if you grow up in these places, right, a bird that lives in a cage its whole life thinks it's unnatural to be outside of the cage, right? So for those people in other countries, I'm sure they like it. I'm sure they like in China that you have to shut off your internet at a certain time. I'm sure they enjoy in Russia, that you can't be gay, right? I'm sure they like that. I'm sure it's okay. I'm sure that in, sub-Saharan African countries, I'm sure that they're okay with the fact that they barely have running water, that the water isn't even pure. Right? I'm sure that it's all part of their culture. It's part of just like us, right? Just like us. But my point about all this was to talk about the quiet quitting. I love this idea. I really do, guys. I really do. I love not putting your all in things. Specifically things that you don't care about, right? If you care about your job, it's one thing. There's plenty of people out there that still care about their job. Right? There's plenty of people out there that have a level of integrity that will drive them to work double overtime for companies that, like I said, would throw you an anchor if you were drowning. Right? If they knew that there was someone else that would do your job a little bit better, or a machine that would do your job a little bit better, then they would get rid of you in a fucking heartbeat. But some people, they look at their job, whatever it is, as it gives you a purpose, right? This is my job. This is what I do. I greet people at Home Depot. This is what I do. I have to make sure people aren't stealing things, right? If I worked at one of those places, I would not give a fuck. Like I said, guys, I work in a big corporate fucking casino, one of the biggest casinos in the country, might be on the planet, I don't know. And I never charge people for soft drinks. Ever. I don't care. I have to do the soft drink myself, right? I have to do it, and I have to put it down. Or when people bring food into the sports book, right? They're not supposed to do that. We have a kitchen. They're not supposed to do that, but I don't care. Do whatever the fuck you want. I get paid the same either way, okay? I know I get paid off tips, but I get paid the same either way. I deal with the same people. I deal with the same logistic problems. Like it doesn't matter to me personally. I don't attach my integrity to that job, right? that's a weird thing anyway, right? Isn't that just another form of pride? I have integrity. People get upset with pride, but they love integrity. Isn't it? I mean, what's the difference, right? You're proud of doing something because you have integrity regarding it. Usually, right? If you're proud you did something, it's because you have this sense that you had to do it. You had this sense that you have a respect for it, and But people look at that word as something better than proud. Don't be proud. Don't be proud. Proud is a bad thing. Pride is one of the 7 deadly sins. But have integrity. Sure, that's good. What's the difference? I don't get it, guys. I don't get it. And I know you guys are listening to me like, dude, don't you? All you talk about is working like a motherfucker at comedy. All you talk about is working hard at comedy, working hard. Yeah. Yes, I do that. But that's because it's for me, right? I'm working hard on something that I do personally, on something that I personally want to get better at, right? If you have no connection with your job, you can do one of two things, right? And this is the argument against quiet quitting, right? In the article I had read, it's there was a boss or a manager of some fucking company, the only person that would have a stance like this. It's a coping mechanism, quiet quitting. Coping mechanism, and it's a way to numb yourself from a bad job. And if you don't like your job, you should leave and find a new path. And I agree with that. But that's tough, right? That's hard. Try working in one industry for so long, realizing, all right, I'm done with this shit, and trying to switch when you have no credentials. If you're like, I've been in healthcare my whole life, but I think I want to be a carpenter. I'm 40. Good luck. All right? Good luck. Good luck trying to switch your path that deep in your life. It can be done. It can totally be done, guys. But it's definitely tougher. It's definitely tougher than when you're a young person who's working somewhere and you realize after 5 years that it sucks and you can switch your path. It's different, okay? And I get it. And I get that the people who are doing this are young people. I'm only 25, right? And millennials, what are they? I mean, I think the oldest you can be is close to 40, right? And you're still part of the millennial group. I could be wrong on that. I have no fucking clue. But either way, it's way easier just to put in no effort, right? It's way easier to decide that you don't give a fuck about this job. Put in the minimal amount of effort. That's a good thing, guys. People look at that as a bad thing. It's good. It's good. It's very good. But now it's going to give old people even more of an excuse to say, well, the young people don't like to work. When I was young, we worked. All we did was work. We were thankful for it. We were thankful that we could work. We liked working. We worked day and night when I was a kid. That's why I have what I have now. That's why I was able to retire at 70, and now I'm going to die in 6 months. But at least I have a bunch of money for my family, for my kids to enjoy. I barely lived for myself. I lived for the corporation. I lived for the dollar. I lived for the job. I lived for the task and never once lived for myself. We used to work. We used to work. We used to work hard. But here's the thing, guys. Production will go down, but ideas won't stop, right? This is only going to speed the process of automation, right? This is only going to speed the process of humans being phased out of their jobs slowly but surely once they realize that, once the corporations realize that this is going on a greater level, they're just going to say, fuck all of you. We've been spending, this right now is a good time for the CEOs to start investing in technology that doesn't require humans. Because, again, if this gains any traction, which I think it will, guys, I really do. I think This generation just does not give a fuck about anything. They just want to break away from the monotony of office culture, or the monotony of working, bullshit, doing a bullshit task for the majority of your life, right? A lot of people, and there's a lot of people who aren't that way. I have friends that they're in trades, and it's not the thing that they love, but they work with a sense of purpose, right? Some people work with a sense of purpose. These people are deriving their purpose from somewhere else, right? And I think that it's good to at least have that counterbalance to the people who still have faith in these systems and in these constructs, I guess, that we have, right? Like, I have friends who they're working in a field solely to get to a place financially where they feel comfortable, which is where most people want to be, right? Most people want to be able to buy a home, buy a little piece of land, invest in it, and then, save it for retirement one day, or save it for a point in their life where they can sell it for a bunch more money than they bought it for. And they want to live that conventional life, and that's awesome. That's great. Some people want that, but some people don't. Some people don't. And before this time, it was a lot tougher to go off that path. Now, I think the idea of not working doesn't really coincide with laziness. It can. It very much can. Like, if you're not doing a fucking thing, people will say, man, you're lazy. You're fucking lazy. But then again, people who are adopting this sort of lifestyle, they don't seem like the ones who are too concerned about what other people think. They're just, they clearly don't give a fuck about their jobs. They just go for a paycheck. And I have shared that philosophy for a while now. I have, before even comedy, before the podcast, when I was still, figuring out what the fuck it is I want to do with my time, because that's really what it is, right? You got to figure out something to do with your time. If you're not going to work 40 hours a week, what the fuck are you going to do with your time? You can't just relax, right? You can't just hang out. You can't just go to a cafe, smoke cigarettes, and drink espresso with your friends and talk, and discuss things. You can't do that. You don't want to do that, right? You're a bum if you do that in our culture, right? You're a lazy son of a bitch. Get to work. What are you doing? You only worked 40 hours? I worked 80. I'll do double. I'll work circles around you, motherfucker. You guys know what my response to that is. I've been saying it this whole fucking time. Good for you. Good for you. But I am, of course, guilty of overworking. I'm guilty of putting a lot of time and effort into things that I find important in my life, But that's the difference here. That's the difference. These quiet quitters are deciding that what's important in their life isn't their job, right? Isn't their job. And there's nothing in this lifestyle that says that you need to find something important to dedicate your time to. There's nothing here that says that instead of working at your job, you should take up basket weaving or some shit. You should go find your passion. Go find your gift. Does everyone have a gift? I don't think everyone has a gift, guys. That's some bullshit that we've been fed. Everyone, we've all got a gift. You just got to find it. You just got to find it. Is that true? Doesn't that just take away the special aspect of being gifted and having a gift? What if your gift is bad? Wouldn't it have been better if Ted Bundy never found his gift? Right? What if he never found out that he was really good at sucking in men and women and killing them? Wouldn't it have been better if Charles Manson found out that he wasn't a charismatic, cult leader? That was his gift, no? Was that not his gift? Yes, of course. There wouldn't be gifted programs in schools. There would be no reason to separate the dumb fucks from the smart fucks. If everyone was gifted, it would just be class, right? A gift is supposed to be something special, is it not? Isn't it supposed to be few and far between? Everybody has a gift now. Every time you go fishing, you catch a fish? No, it's a fucking gift, right? It's a gift. It really boggles my mind that there are people out there, and I used to be one of them, guys. I used to come on here and say, yeah, just go ahead and find your passion, man. Go find something that you really like and you connect with. Some people don't have that. Some people don't give a fuck about that, guys. They don't. They live in a certain way that there's no need to complicate things, right? No need to. You ever meet someone that's just a simple person? Not simple-minded, just a simple person. They take things as they are. They don't really put a ton of thought into their existence, right? They just kind of live. They just, they don't care about their job. They do whatever it is. That puts food on the table. They have a good time sometimes. They just kind of exist, right? And that's very much ignorance is bliss, right? Not everybody has a gift. They don't. It's something that some people do have, and maybe some people do have gifts and they don't find them. They never explore them, and that sucks too. But not everyone has. And then, how much pressure do you want to put on yourself? Oh God, everyone has a gift. How am I gonna find my gift? Oh my goodness. You got to find your gift, and that's not enough. Now you got to monetize it. You got to monetize the thing that you found out you were given to. It's taken your whole life to figure out that you're a whiz at eating ass, right? You are the king of eating ass. When Nicki Minaj said, "Bad bitches, I'm your leader, Phantom by the leader," okay, somebody point me to the best ass eater, she was talking about you. You found that out at some point in your life. Now everyone's saying, man, you are really good at eating ass. Everybody whose ass that you've eaten has had raving reviews about how well you eat ass, how good you are at it, how talented, how gifted you are at eating ass. And now you're convinced that you are the man when it comes to eating ass. And people tell you all about it. They say, man, you could make a killing on OnlyFans. You could make a killing eating ass, selling eating ass content. There's not a lot of it out there, buddy. You have a gift, and now you're convinced. Okay, all right. You get a GoPro, and you start an OnlyFans, and you're eating ass, right? And now that's the thing about these gifts that people have. You can't just have them. If it doesn't make money, if it doesn't give you recognition or fame in some way, people don't care. People rarely care. Right? The people around you will care, which are the ones that we care about, the opinions that we care about. We want to know that, with our families, that they agree with you, that they agree with you in some way. We care about what they think, our family and friends, but other people, they don't care that you're you can see the good in your gift. What if your gift is that you can see the good in everything, right? People aren't going to care about that. How are you going to get paid off of it? How are people going to know? Are you going to be a social worker? Are you going to be a motivational speaker? How are you going to monetize that? Well, I don't know. That's how I live my life. Bullshit. We don't care. We don't care, realistically, right? If you don't have a gift, that's back to the gifted programs. You're in that program because you're smarter than the other kids, right? People only care if you're more creatively adept, right? Maybe you get accepted to an art school, right? A very highly sought after art school and a gifted program, right? That you only get that shit because people can recognize you for it, right? There's no gifted programs for conversationalists, right? You could monetize it at some point, right? Podcast, radio, some shit, but there's no gifted, program for that. There's no gifted program for a person that is, naturally inclined if your gift is being able to eat 60 Big Macs, right? There's only really one lane for you, and that's, well, maybe two lanes, right? Mukbanging and competition eating. If your gift is history, if you're not going to be a teacher, good luck. I mean, you could be a historian. Tough gig, tough to monetize. The more niche these gifts get, the tougher it is. The real big gifts that people want to hear about are athletes and and artists and CEOs and salesmen, right? These are the movers, the shakers. If you're a gifted surgeon, if you're a gifted lawyer, if you're a gifted fucking garbage man, if you were put on this planet built to take out the trash, nobody cares. You're just another garbage man, right? Nobody realizes that was your gift, But nonetheless, you will be monetizing it as a garbage man. So I guess that's a win-win, right? It's a win-win. You should flip it on them, right? You should flip it on people. If you don't have a gift, you're not alone, first of all. If you're a person who's been searching their whole life for the thing that they're good at and hasn't found anything, it's okay. Flip it on motherfuckers, right? Ha ha, you have a gift. People expect shit from you. People expect good things from you. People want results. Not from me. I'm not gifted at anything. I can't do anything. I can jerk off. I can eat. I can shit. I can play video games. I can watch movies. That's really it. I take life as it is. I don't care about my job. I don't care about progressing in my job. I just try to live as best I can. Maybe one day I'll have a family. I'll have a couple of kids, a dog. I'll have a job, a better job, and that's fine. Right? And that's okay, and it should be okay. Ha ha, you motherfuckers. You can play the trumpet really well? Ha. Pfft. People are going to be putting a lot of chips in your corner, buddy. Don't fuck it up. Please don't fuck it up. Right? It's just interesting. It's an interesting concept, We're all gifted. Everyone's got a gift. Just find it. You got to find it. No. What if you never find it? What if you live your entire life looking for a gift that you just don't have? Right? Now you've just wasted a life. All you did was look. Let me try this. Let me try playing the banjo. Let me try knitting sweaters. Let me see. Let's try everything. And I think you should try everything. But if you're doing it in the name of finding something that you're good at, you're not going to... I don't know if people do that anyway, I don't know if people go out and try things just to see what their gift is. It's more like, let's try this, and if you end up enjoying it, you can get better at it. You can do it more, and you can get better at it, and that's a better way to look at it. And eventually you can grow into a person who's proficient at whatever it is that you've tried. Whatever it is that you spend a bunch of time on. That's not a gift, right? That's just effort. That's just effort that you put into. And some people are gifted and some people aren't, right? Find the thing that you're willing to put effort into. How about that? You could do that. That's a little more reasonable, right? That's a little more possible in life, instead of searching for this thing that you feel like you're meant to do. Good luck, okay? Good luck. Some people have it, some people don't. And if you don't, it's okay. It really is. It's okay, It's okay. Be a quiet quitter. Quit quietly, okay? Just quit. That shit where they say quitters never win and winners never quit, it's bullshit, guys. It's bullshit. This is evidence. This is evidence. If you quit quietly at your job, meaning you just fly by, you get the seat, you do your 40 hours, you barely talk to anyone, you don't care about the culture, and you get the fuck out and you go live, right? That's winning to me. That's winning. Haha, that's winning to a guy like me. But to switch gears here, I saw an article, one I'm going to pull up, with a very interesting headline. Very interesting headline, one that doesn't really make much sense. It was on CNN, one of the most trusted media outlets out there. Nobody has anything bad to ever say about CNN. But here's the article. To get people excited about pizza again, Papa John's is offering a new spin on the classic with Papa Bowls that are all topping, no crust. Were people starting to not be excited about pizza? Especially in America, where Papa John's is born, where these massive restaurant chains, these corporations that have figured out how to mass produce cheap food, on great scales and get it out to millions and millions of people, right? An industry that is more or less born in this country, right? McDonald's kind of blazed the trail for that, right? For these big restaurant chains putting out food that tastes really good, but is probably poison, right? Probably not great for you. But, are people here not excited about pizza? Like, I get the article because I read the rest of it and it was saying that Papa John's pizza sales are down. That doesn't mean that the people who are buying the pizza want some new shit, right? Especially something as stupid as this. I mean, you mean to tell me that you're going to give me a bowl, a plastic bowl? Like, I'm looking at the picture of it, and it looks fucking terrible, okay? It is a plastic bowl that just has food, like just has toppings in it. The Papa Bowl comes in 3 varieties: garden veggie, chicken Alfredo, and Italian meats trio. They are available to the company's loyalty members this week and will roll out nationally next and cost $7.99. $8 for a bowl of pizza toppings. Like, are we... we deserve what's coming, okay? We deserve the implosion of this system, okay? Once the people at Papa John's start putting food out that you would never see in any other pizzeria. You would never go to a pizza place and order a bowl of toppings. Ever. They would slap the shit out of you, okay? And that's the competitive advantage that these companies have. They can literally fuck around. They can do whatever they want, right? They can literally do whatever the fuck they want because they know that there's going to be people out there that's going to look at that and say, you know what, I like pizza, but the carbs in the crust are what get you. The carbs in the crust is what fucks you up bad. So I really enjoy the pizza, but I'm going to start getting these bowls. These bowls are good for you. It's like you're going to Chipotle. It's like when you go to Chipotle and you ask for a bowl and you say no rice, but give me everything else. Give me the sour cream and the queso and the beef, the salted beef. Throw it all in there. That's good for you. That's good for you. Now, Papa John's is doing the right thing. You drink that with a nice Diet Coke or a Coke Zero. That's good for you. That's good for your family, and it's cheap. $8, 8 change with tax. I mean, come on. Papa John's has got the fucking right idea here. You know there's going to be fucking morons lining up. I'm going to try one of those new pizza bowls. Let's try a new pizza bowl. Pizza isn't the American pizza hasn't been butchered enough, right? There's not enough bad pizza out there. There's not enough bad pizza chains out there. There's not enough bad pizza products out there. Let's fuck it. Let's fuck with it a little bit more. Let's not even make a pizza, right? It's not even a pizza, guys. It's not even a pizza. But again, they know that this is a good idea. You know, they want to get people, they want to get the competitive advantage because people are going to start saying, hey, I lost some weight. I've been eating the pizza bowls. I haven't been eating as much crust. I get Papa John's 3 times a week. I usually get a pizza or a sandwich, but these pizza bowls, not bad, and they're cheap. I don't know, guys. It's funny to me. It's funny to me. Food in this country, right? I talk about it often, and I'm a big proponent of eating some of this shit. When I am upset with myself, when I feel like I could shoot heroin, right, which is something that I would never do, I'm not interested in it. Instead of doing that, I go and I eat like a fat pig. I go get a Whopper, right? I get too much food. And I sit in my fat slop, and that's what I do. And that's what so many of us do, because it's such a crutch, right? It's such a mouth pleaser. It's such a pleasurable thing that it's just so ready to go. Anytime you want, you can get something awful for you. And it tastes so good, and it makes you feel so good while you're eating it. And afterwards, you immediately feel you regret it. You regret it, not only because you have a stomach ache, but you know you just ate food that is illegal in, dozens of countries around the world. You know that it's some shit that you shouldn't have eaten, but you eat it anyway because you hate living. Something's got to you that day. You're just not feeling good. You ran out of weed. You're trying to cut back on the drink, and you go out and you get 3 Big Macs and you eat them all in your sweaty apartment. You sweat into the French fries and you eat them anyway. You're sweating. You're exerting so much energy in your food that you're excreting from all areas, right? You're filling your gut with sugar and salt more than you need in a fucking lifetime. In one meal, guys, we do it so often that they know that whatever the fuck that they put in front of us, as long as it's salty and gooey and cheesy and crunchy and savory, and it somewhat resembles a meal, we're going to eat it. We're going to rush to your storefront at the end of a workday and chow the fuck down. We are going to get pizza bowls. We're going to order on Friday as an office. We're going to order out. We're going to order the Chinese takeout. We're going to have pizzas. This is what we do, guys. It's fun. It's fun. And if anyone disagrees, you're wrong. You're wrong. You are wrong, realistically. I mean, eating for us has become, it's literally a cornerstone to our culture, guys. It's literally a cornerstone to our culture. My dad used to say this shit when we were young, because we would be bored, right? Me and my brother, or all of us as a family, we're like, what the fuck are we going to do? What do we do? It's a Friday or it's a Saturday. Everyone's home. What are we going to do? We're fucking bored. Let's order a pizza. Let's go out to eat. Let's go to TGI Fridays. Then we'll go for a ride, right? Let's go. My dad would always say there's nothing to do in this country if you don't eat. If you don't go out to eat, if you don't enjoy going out to eat, the only thing to do in this country is go out to eat, right? It starts everything off. If you and all your friends decide you're going to go out that night, right? It's a Saturday night, guys. Let's all meet up. We're going to go out. Where are we going to meet up? Some fucking restaurant, some place everyone wants to eat. Let's eat. Let's all get together. We'll eat. We'll drink. We'll be merry, right? Eating and drinking and be merry has always been a thing in the human culture. I get that. But over here, we make it a real thing, right? We make it a big thing. We're going to go to this. We're the only country where you can be a foodie, right? Everywhere else, it's just, you indulge every once in a while. But here, you can be a foodie. You travel hours to go try something. You travel hours and then stand in a line to go try something, right? I heard those Korean hot dogs, the ones with the cheese inside, and they fry them in the corn dog batter, and then they stick potatoes on the outside, and they cover it in sriracha mayo. Good. I want to try one of those. We love it, guys. We love it. We love it. There's a whole... That's what it is, right? It's just food all the time. Food all the time. Consumption. Just like Carlin said, guys, America's biggest pastime is consumption. Fuck baseball, consumption. That's what he said. And he's fucking right. He's always been right. Not always, but about a lot of things, right? He was always the guy to call people out on their bullshit. But food it's a cornerstone of what we do as Americans. We can't start a night off without, if people are like, how many times you guys are in group chats and you're bored, right? You got the night off, you hope someone else does, you hit the group chat, say, anyone want to go grab a bite? It's a social activity. It's a social activity for us. Other countries, in Amsterdam, maybe you go to a cafe, you smoke a joint, you drink an espresso, you and your buddy, that's what they do. What we do is we gorge. We go out to eat. We go to a place that's tried and true, and we get a burrito covered in 6 different sauces, and there's 4 different proteins inside, and there's beans and cheese and rice and all this shit, and you eat it, and you drink a margarita that you could stick your head in and blow bubbles. That's how big and deep it is, right? You can just eat and drink until you fucking keel over, which most people do. That's how people die here. That's how a lot of us die, heart-related, diabetes, fucking myocarditis, all these things that come from salt, sugar, and fat. Our main building blocks. Fuck that pyramid. There's 3 building blocks of the food we eat. Fat, sugar, salt. Quiznos. Toasty, toasty, toasty. I haven't been to a Quiznos in a while. There used to be a Quiznos in North Providence. I used to fuck with them pretty heavy. You get that nice thin... roast beef that they sliced off the back of a Taiwanese rat that's like 6 feet long, right? You ever see some of those rats? That's an exaggeration. They're not that long. But they'll be like 1.5 feet, 2 feet, some of those things. They eat them. They eat them over there. Right over there in Taiwan. That's probably why they're not regarded as a country. But yeah, food. People fucking enjoy it. One more thing I wanted to talk about before we close this motherfucker out. I haven't spoken about it much on here. Is Alex Jones. Alex Jones, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, Alex Jones for years has been a massive conspiracy theorist, a massive whistleblower about things that are true and things that aren't true. Right? He's one of the first guys to expose the Bohemian Grove, the Bilderbergs, the agent provocateurs. He was talking about Epstein Island before anybody else. There's truth to some of the things he says, but he does get very outlandish, right? He's kind of a wild character, and I remember seeing him as a kid. I remember being a kid, not like a kid, but like middle school, and sometimes you go down these wormholes of conspiracy theories, and he would always pop up. He was on that show with Jesse the Body Ventura when he had a conspiracy show of his own on television, on network television, True TV. Jesse the Body Ventura used to go on there and talk about, well, you mean to tell me that this is what's going on? You mean to tell me that the government is after me? Like, it was all these things, right? And it was an interesting show. But Alex Jones, there was an episode where he was on there when they were talking about the Bilderbergs, and he's outside at the meeting, and he's with the megaphone screaming things. And he's been doing this for decades, guys. Decades. He lives and breathes this shit. But I remember when Sandy Hook happened, right? Sandy Hook happened in Connecticut, which, by the way, after moving to Connecticut, I can see why someone would want to go into an elementary school and kill a bunch of kids. I wouldn't do it. But I can see what living in this state can drive people to do. Okay? It's not out of the realm of possibility that a lifelong Connecticut resident, I don't know if that's what the person was, but I would assume that the person who did it was someone who lived in Connecticut or spent at least a half hour here. Right? I can see why that person would go into a school and kill a bunch of kids. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it good. It's an awful thing that happened, just like the thing that happened in Vlad and all these other fucking places. I understand. It's not good, but I can see where they're coming from, okay? 20 minutes into being in this state, you're thinking about killing somebody, okay? Someone, let alone any time longer than that. So that's my point. But I remember when Sandy Hook happened, I think I was in middle school, maybe starting off in high school. I don't really remember. But everyone, obviously a major tragedy, and people were very upset about it. But this crazy motherfucker, and I remember because Evan, who's been on the show a bunch of times, he was the one who first started showing me some of his things about Sandy Hook. And he was Evan was sold, right? He was very much sold. And I was watching it and I'm like, damn, maybe he's right. Maybe, maybe. That it was a conspiracy, right? Because the police were outside doing nothing. Now, so many years later, we see that that's commonplace, right? We see that if there's people getting shot in a building, especially elementary schools, cops aren't going to do a fucking thing. They're going to play on their phone. They're going to get hand sanitizer. They're going to follow protocol, right? They're not going to go in there and save anybody. So, but like I said, hindsight is 20/20. Things are different, right? Things aren't different. I shouldn't say that. But hindsight is 20/20, right? But I remember watching the videos and he would say, this guy was hired. Look at this. This isn't how there were crisis actors, right? That the parents of the children that were murdered were acting. They weren't real people, right? There were kids that they reported were dead that weren't dead. Very tough thing to very tough stance to take. And being able to prove something like that is tough, okay? Being able to get people behind an idea like that is tough. But Alex Jones has been at this for a long time and has built a massive following. InfoWars was his website. He used to be on YouTube. He got banned off YouTube for the Sandy Hook thing. They kicked him off because he's got too many people that are vouching for him. Too many people believed what the fuck he was saying about this, and they started harassing the families of these parents. It's just like Holocaust deniers. There could be someone who has complete evidence of a family member that lived through the Holocaust, and people will deny it. They'll say, no, it wasn't, 6 million or whatever. It was far less, and, all these things. It was a lie. It's a very far-fetched idea. Very far-fetched, but there are people who believe it. There's people who believe in these things, okay? Just like Pizzagate and people who believe in all these psycho fucking things. That's why they exist, because there's a market for them. So a lot of his followers took to harassing these people, saying that they were lying, saying that they were this and that. If you're not familiar with the case, he recently went to court. His lawyers fucked everything up. He's fucked, and now he owes... I think they're trying to get him to pay more, but he owes like $45 million in reparations, right? He needs to pay out to these families because it was all defamation. All these families were like, what the fuck? My kids died. All your followers are fucking shitting on us. And all I want to say is, what happened to freedom of speech? What happened to be able to say whatever you want, whenever you want? Now, I know these days the climate is tough. I know that it is a tough time to be a person that is outspoken, right? Because of cancel culture, because of people taking things a little too seriously. I get it. I understand. And I understand that there are some things you don't want to rival up. You don't want to get a rise out of people about certain things. And one of those things might be a bunch of kids getting murdered in a school, right? I understand that. But when has that stopped things before, right? When has that stopped, I mean, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right at all. But when has that stopped certain world leaders and people in power or whatever else? When has that stopped them from doing whatever the fuck they want anyway, right? If Alex Jones was a prime minister of some third world country and, he used his platform and his voice to get people to, revolt in some way or do something, it would be overlooked, right? Because he's a world leader. Doesn't make it right. And of course, him being a world leader, he's got more power. If, obviously, hypothetically, if he were to be a prime minister of some fucking place, he would have more power and you could do whatever the fuck you want in that scenario. And it might not be the best example, but you guys can kind of see where I'm getting at. If you got enough power, you can get people to do whatever the fuck they want, right? If you control the courts, if you control these situations, then you can get people to do whatever the fuck you want. That's why Epstein was suicided, right? That's why he was suicide by, two bullets, right? Metaphor there. But he had the power, right? He could have exposed a ton of people, for coming on his island and fucking people, fucking children. He could have exposed a lot of high-level people. That's why dead men tell no tales, right? Dead men tell no tales. And a great way to dead a man, other than actually killing him, a great way to do it is to financially burden him beyond belief. And that's what's happening to Mr. Alex Jones. I don't know if he's still going to do his show. I don't follow his show. I think he's an interesting character. I think he's an interesting guy. Some of the things he says are real. Some of the things he says are absolutely outrageous. But, it just goes to show the fragility of certain freedoms we think we have. It goes to show that the organization of certain ideas, it shows the danger of organized effort behind ideas, right? And it shows the fragility of freedoms, because if you have enough people to support a more or less psychopathic idea or an idea that isn't accepted, and if you get enough people behind that to support it, then it'll probably disrupt things, right? And in this case, that's exactly what it did. It disrupted the lives of people who were the victims of a horrible, horrible thing that happened. So I'm, of course, being facetious and satirizing the whole freedom of speech thing. But it is true. I mean, if Alex Jones was a congressman telling people to go vote, right? Go vote for this because I'm behind it. Go vote for that. That manipulation is okay, right? That manipulation is okay, even if whatever that bill that you're voting for in support of that particular politician would maybe put people out of work, right? Maybe it would destroy a community. Vote this corporation into, allow this corporation to build their business in this neighborhood. Knock the neighborhood down. All these people now are displaced. You get what I'm saying, right? That's bad too. That's bad too, and it's bad on a grander scale. Yes, it is terrible to be mocked after your child was murdered in a school. Yes, terrible. But how many families was that? 20, maybe 30 that were affected, right? And how many people across the board? 100, 200 that were affected, right? When a congressman tells you to vote this because it'll help us, there's a good chance that it may be getting fucked on somewhere else. What if they're voting for funding for something that a bunch of people agree with, but it could it could ruin, that funding could have been put somewhere else, right? We want to build a bridge, a real nice pedestrian bridge. This happened in Providence, Rhode Island. They spent like $50 million on a bridge. Might have been more. Beautiful bridge. Looks very nice. Makes the city look nice. It's a nice monument. But you got schools where there's still asbestos in the ceiling. Okay? What about that? What about roads that are fucking caved in? What about those types of things? What about government subsidized health care? What about things like that? Getting the homeless off the streets, getting attention to the people who have getting mental health care to the right people, affordable, but getting these things, that affects a lot of people too. And that person who's orchestrating all this, the politician that orchestrated everybody to go out, that influenced everybody to go out and outvote the other option and vote in this particular option, the one that's convinced everybody that what they're saying is the right thing to do, that guy, he's playing by the rules of the game. That person, that man, that woman is playing by the rules of the game, so nobody will question it. Nobody will question it until they somehow go against the rules. And now laws and all these things happen. right? I don't see the difference, guys. I don't see the difference other than I don't see the difference in offenses other than when a politician does something to sway people a certain way. The opposite reaction, the collateral, is usually worse than when a guy like Alex Jones, who's a notorious kook, people know not to take him completely seriously, take some of his things seriously, but a lot of people, and he does have a core fan base that takes a lot of what he says seriously, but it's well, I don't want to say it's smaller than a politician's following. It could be bigger. But I would think that it's a real concentrated group of his followers that would go out and deliberately harass, maybe a few thousand, okay, which is still bad. Maybe not even that much. Maybe a few hundred, right? A few hundred are out there sending hate emails to these people. Maybe more. I don't know. But all I'm saying is that way worse can be done with very little repercussions, as long as you're within the system and you're playing and you're following the rules of the game. That's really it. That's all my point. And Alex Jones, I mean, you need a guy like that. You do. As much as he offends people and as much as far-fetched as he is with some of his ideas, you need a guy like that. You need a person to at least give you the other side. At least give you the other side. You don't need him to, harass the families of dead children, but you need him to at least get people thinking. And with that, we support Alex Jones on this show, and we hope that the buck stops at $45 million, and maybe he can even get it lowered, get it absolved. That would be good. But yeah. That's how we're rocking on a motherfucking Thursday. And with that, guys, I'm gonna wrap this show up. As far as dates go, we got of course Portland, Maine Comedy Fest, baby. A week from today, I'll be performing 2 to 3 shows. Still don't know if I'm added to the third one. And super exciting, guys. I did the Industry Room at the Broadway Comedy Club recently. I told you guys about that. The world famous, maybe not the world famous, but definitely a very famous comedy club in New York City. The booking manager, Richard Brooks, puts together a show called The Industry Room, built for intermediate and up-and-coming comedians. And, you get exposure and you get the possibility of a residency. And you get a one-on-one, kind of set session. You go line by line. Rich he's a great guy. I just met him, and I'm excited because he offered me 2 more spots. I didn't get a residency yet, but he had a lot of good things to say about what I did on stage. He had a lot of good constructive criticism. A lot of good. So if you're in the area, if you're in New England, if you're in New York, even if you're thinking about moving to New York from somewhere else and you're a comedian, I would recommend getting in touch and trying to book a Industry Room night because it is a lot of fun and you get a lot of opportunity. So I did get 2 more spots. They're going to be on the same day, September 10th, which is the day before New York's favorite holiday. Let me triple check that's what it is. September 10th. It's a Saturday. I'm doing the 10 p.m. and the 11 p.m. show. I'm doing 5 minutes on both shows, which is going to be a lot of fun. A late night Saturday show is always a lot of fun. I haven't done one yet, but that's what people say. So that's going to be great getting my name out there, getting the exposure, the opportunity. And then maybe I'll do the Industry Room again and maybe get a residency, a month, 2 months, who fucking knows. Either way, guys, thank you all for playing along. Those are the dates for now. And that's it, motherfuckers. Have a good Thursday. I'll talk to you Monday.
I'm
Peace.
back to reiterate all the stuff that I said at the top of the show. Follow and subscribe. Bye-bye.